Few people on YouTube have done this topic, but I feel it is important and it is needed if we are going to save the planet from pollution and, yes, climate change. Before any far-right wingers shit on me, just know, we only have one planet and it doesn't care if you're right-wing or left-wing. The same way science proves that there are only two genders, science proves that climate change is real. So here are some counter-arguments to claims that climate change is either non-existent or not caused by humans. The climate has always been changing, it's natural. Well, the climate has changed in the past. Why? Due to an increase in carbon emissions, which is a pretty clear indication that an increase in carbon emissions will result in an increase in temperature. But Western centrists, CO2 emissions increase only because temperature levels increase, not the other way around. It is true that some warming events began without CO2 levels increasing first, but once the warming began, CO2 levels increased, greatly amplifying the warming. As a matter of fact, most of the warming took place after the CO2 levels took place. Climate change is paused. No, it has not. Basically, every source of climate change has shown that it is increasing. Some satellite imagery show less activity in certain areas, but nowhere does it say that it has paused. The data is wrong because you are measuring the heat in urban areas where there are lots of heat sources. That's not how you measure the temperature of the planet. You measure it by satellite imagery and thermometers that are either on the surface or deep in the ocean. Polar bear numbers are actually increasing. No, they're not. Even if they were, that doesn't mean climate change isn't happening. CO2 makes up only a small portion of the atmosphere. The amount that is needed for climate change to be stable is around 0.04 degrees, but even a small change will mean colder or warmer weather. Humans emit only a tiny portion of CO2. That's true. However, prior to us, the system was in balance, with the same being removed and produced, but humans added more to the production. The Earth is actually cooling. Wrong again. 2016 was the hottest year ever. Like ever, on record. Water vapor is a far more potent greenhouse gas than CO2. Again, what does this do to disprove climate change? What they are missing is obvious. It increases or decreases in response to temperature. They predicted an ice age in the 1970s. A small minor research team did say that, and the media talked about it for around 2 weeks. But the vast majority of scientists did say that the Earth was warming. There are thousands of scientists who disagree. The Oregon petition is an example. Science is not a democracy. It doesn't care what people think. And even if it was, the majority of scientists do agree that we are causing climate change, and the Oregon petition was proven to be a fraud. You're just cherry-picking the data that supports your hypothesis. You can find evidence of climate change in every field, such as biology with animals ranging further north, or epidemiology with disease ranges spreading. There are more. Antarctica has more ice now. It has more sea ice. The land ice, the one you're supposed to be worried about, is melting at an alarming rate, and the fresh water is colder and it turns into ice, which surrounds Antarctica when it's not supposed to be. It's not really relevant because it will increase by only a few degrees. Even 1 degree is damaging. It's just a liberal conspiracy to get money. There is no basis for this claim. It is just an assumption, not a legitimate argument.
I could do this all day.
There are many more counter-arguments to critics of climate change, but they're also in the description below where my sources are. So let me know what you think.